What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and today I want to talk about this rumor that has been swirling around there for the past couple of days about a potential civil war brewing inside Lucasfilm between Kathleen Kennedy and her loyalists and Jon Favreau and his. I think it's really interesting, and I think there's actually a lot of credibility, although it is still just that, a rumor. Now, shout out to Bounding Into Comics, who has covered this. Also, Ichibaka over at Disney Star Wars is Dumb has also covered this, but a lot of the groundwork was done by Clownfish TV. I believe they're one of the first ones that brought it to everyone's attention about this forum post. And again, this forum post does come to somebody who has been very reliable in the past, WDW Pro, over on the WDW Magic forum. Now, as you can see, this is a very long and highly detailed post. Only one paragraph of it deals with Star Wars and with Lucasfilm. The rest of it is all incredibly precise discussions about the actual Walt Disney World parks. But what we really talk about, what we're going to talk about here on the channel, is Lucasfilm. So let's take a look. A new rumor details there's an internal power struggle happening at Lucasfilm over control of Star Wars and the franchise creative directions. In a post titled What to Watch Going into the Earnings Report, dated Monday, May 4th, WDW Pro primarily discusses the Disney parks and the ideas that Disney has been tossing around on how they may be able to reopen amidst the coronavirus pandemic, but they also put in there the stuff about Star Wars. WDW Pro begins. The ongoing battle over Lucasfilm's direction continues, with Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau's factions fighting over the studio. It's fairly well known at this point that the beef between Kennedy and Iger is real, given that Iger essentially ignored her in his memoirs, which is very interesting. And this is what we've been saying the whole time. We feel like there's so many people that want her out of Lucasfilm, but she is so entrenched there, and it would be such a PR disaster for them to fire her that it's almost impossible to get her out. I already read that. They continue. It's also hard to lose sight of how many projects Kennedy has seen fail at Lucasfilm. Star Wars Resistance, Star Wars Forces of Destiny, Galaxy of Adventures, Solo, and the sequel trilogy falling in revenues with each release, while Favreau seemingly struck it out of the park with The Mandalorian, a series for Disney Plus that even Iger was giving creative suggestions for and taking notes on each episode. And obviously, you know my feelings on The Mandalorian. I don't think it's the greatest thing in the world. I think it's fine. I still think it's very simplistic, a lot of problems. But at least it was well received by the vast majority of people. And at least it doesn't seem like there's some identity politics push in The Mandalorian, which I think a lot of people are really into. And Jon Favreau does truly seem to respect and want to honor the legacy, even if I don't necessarily think it's the best representation on screen. I can see that he cares for sure. WDW Pro elaborated, buried in the lead of Waititi directing a new Star Wars film, which Kennedy has no creative control over. I find that very hard to believe, though, that Taika Waititi will have no creative control over that. Or sorry, that Kathleen Kennedy would have no creative control over Taika Waititi's movie. It's still a Star Wars movie. It's still being produced under Lucasfilm. How could she have no control? Seems a little far-fetched to me. Was confirmation of the female-centric Star Wars series being held by former Weinstein personal assistant Leslie Headland. And of course, WDW Pro is the one who brought us this rumor about Bob Iger and Bob Chapek being so upset that they did not get any warning about this potential hire of Leslie Headland. Same person. WD Pro then details that Lucasfilm has taken a page out of Ghostbusters 2016 and Charlie's Angels, and that anyone who criticizes their direction with the show will be deemed a misogynist. And we've already seen that from members of the media, from other fans online. Of course, if you have any issue with the former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein being given an all-female-centric Star Wars show, you're a misogynist. You're a bigot. Of course, it's the same thing over and over again. We always hear that. But they explain, but be ready, because it looks almost certain that a new narrative is being pushed by Kennedy loyalists in Lucasfilm. And that narrative is that Headland was only a personal assistant for 1 year. Only 1 year she was working directly under Harvey Weinstein. No big deal, guys. And that being against her or the series is misogynist, mean, and unfair. Of course. WDW Pro notes Disney at large doesn't want this conflict. Again, this is a conflict that Disney doesn't want. They don't want the conflict over a hire that lavishly praised Weinstein, deleted hundreds of tweets at the same time as a leak about a project, and made no dirt on Iger and Eisner. That is getting very... I'm sure they don't want any controversy over that. While he believes there's a storm brewing at Lucasfilm, they do indicate that Kennedy is well positioned to outlast it, as she has done time and time again. With all that said, Kennedy has essentially gotten her way most of the time, outplaying Iger even if she has been hammered by segments of the fans, mostly by hiring and developing strong loyalty within her brand. And that is one of the things we have said time and time again, is that everybody, virtually everyone working at Lucasfilm thinks the same way. They are all in lockstep with Kathleen Kennedy. And if she doesn't get along with someone, if she doesn't get along with a director, with someone who's brought in to make a movie, they get fired. Bottom line, that's what happens. Now, when Jon Favreau is brought in and essentially given his own thing, and again, all these rumors about her not being allowed on the set of Mandalorian, when we saw pictures of her on the set of Mandalorian, I think that's a little far-fetched. But Jon Favreau is someone who has the gravitas, he has the work, he has the respect of everyone. That's not someone that she can just fire out of the blue like that. So the idea that there are now people who want Favreau to be in charge is not surprising. Because you look at the fandom, so many people are saying the exact same thing. A lot of people would like Jon Favreau to take over. I personally think that he would be a much better choice than Kathleen Kennedy. There's no doubt about that. So if these rumors are true, if this one paragraph in the midst of all of these other very accurate and very specific references he brings about Disney parks is to be believed, then it may be very interesting to see if Kathleen Kennedy finally eventually goes down for everything that she has done to Star Wars. Are they going to have the balls to do it? Is Bob Iger going to have the balls to actually fire Kathleen Kennedy? And all of the PR that would come along with that, all of these people screeching about the fact that he fired a female and replaced her with a male. That will be the narrative. That's what Kennedy will try to push, and the Kennedy loyalists will try to push to avoid that. All this is really interesting. What it does mean to me is that maybe there's a turning point in there. I don't think Taika Waititi's a good fit. The fact that she's not going to have any creative control over it doesn't really matter to me. Taika Waititi and his style of humor, I don't think necessarily fits in Star Wars. We saw that with The Mandalorian, him immediately undercutting a serious tone by the stupid stormtrooper jokes in his episode of The Mandalorian. Didn't like that. Overall, the episode turned around and it was okay. But I don't like the idea of Taika Waititi, I'll ruin your mythos in a minute, baby, having full creative control over a Star Wars movie. That's just not what I want to see personally. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who like Marvel, who are completely bought into the Marvel brand, the shallow, same humor recycled over and over and over. Maybe that might be the Star Wars you want, but it's not necessarily the kind I want. So I'm still going to be very skeptical of his project. But what do you guys think about this? Do you think there's any truth to this rumor about a civil war brewing at Lucasfilm? Or do you think this is all just garbage? Do you not trust this forum post, even though he's given reliable information in the past? Let me know in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.